I'm Wiley Mosley. For a career, I work for Specialized Bicycles. I'm a field sales rep, so I travel around the state of Texas, visiting the local shops and all the areas.
I am Maureen Mo Grady. My current involvement in cycling is hardcourt bicycle polo. I live, breathe, and sleep bike polo.
I'm Chris Elkington. I'm a professional bike mechanic. I've been doing it for, I guess, 13 years. And it's not what got me into bikes, but it's probably what got me really serious about it, getting exposed to the whole industry. And I started riding in '91 when I bought and paid for my own bicycle.
My name is John Watson. I run ProllyIsNotProbably.com. I've lived in New York for the past 6 years and recently relocated to Austin.
My name is Joe Rich, and I live in Austin, Texas, and I've been running a BMX company called Terrible One for the last 13 years, and I've been riding BMX bikes for 24 years.
What I really love about biking is getting on just a really nice piece of single track or trail, and that sensation you get going into a corner, just carving the wheels right on the edge, and sliding out on you but not. Just that feeling of speed and force on you. At the same time, sometimes just the feeling of competition. Sitting at the start of a race next to guys who you know might be faster than you, and then just throwing down when the whistle goes and seeing what happens. Incredible rush, great feeling.
The most fun thing about riding for me, usually, whether it's commuting or mountain biking, is going fast and flowing, where it's not broken up, it's just continuous. That's where you can't stop smiling. That's the most fun. Taking Cheris, my daughter, to school, we've got a few different ways of doing it. We can do it with the trailer, where she's strapped in. Now she likes the trailer bike, which attaches to the seat post, and she gets to pedal, and that's the only one she wants to ride anymore. And it used to be kind of a novelty. We just had to go a little bit ways downhill to school. Now we go 6 miles both ways, 12 miles round trip, and she's a trooper. She does it all the time. It's gotten pretty cold lately, but she's still doing it. I feel bad sometimes. I look back there. She looks pretty cold, but it's making her tough.
I don't know, I have the most fun riding a bike when I'm riding with friends, and whether that's like, you know, going on a road ride with some guys like, you know, South Hills, or riding my fixed freestyle bike. I had a good time riding from Brooklyn to Philly with a few friends. Just like any kind of like semi-competitive environment, I think usually makes a fairly like interesting afternoon.
I think the most fun thing is that it can always be whatever you want it to be. I like that I have just as much fun riding my rain bike that I built from a throwaway bike. My BMX bike fills a certain void on certain days at certain times. My road bike is like the best psychiatrist I could ever ask for. You know what I mean? Just having an hour or 2 hours by yourself just to think and just kind of like let your mind go and all that. And same thing, it's fun to go flying around through puddles.
The most fun thing about riding a bicycle is interacting with nature, having the wind blow through my hair, and being able to like see people on the street and wave to them and say hey, like other cyclists. Yeah, just the freedom, like in every sense of that word. I love feeling the sun on me and getting sweaty and showing up looking like a cyclist and being okay with that.
If I could change anything about cycling, that's a pretty tricky one. I think for it to be more socially acceptable, not everybody making fun of that guy on the bike that, oh, we must be homeless or drunk because he's riding a bike everywhere. That's not the case. And within the cycling culture itself, it seems to be a niche-y culture. You know, the BMX guys are here, the mountain bikers are here, and within the mountain bikers you've got that racer or the free rider, the fixed gear guy and the roadie. we're all doing the same thing. You know, some of us are way better looking than the others, but we're all the same.
A lot of us cyclists who've been in it long enough wish that the whole world was riding their bikes. I think they would just be in my way if everybody got out of their cars and started riding their bikes. I don't actually want that. They would be clogging up the bike lanes and I'd have to stop a whole lot more. So my dream is that everybody would ride bikes, and my nightmare is that everybody actually starts riding bikes.
For one, I mean, it's very easy for people, I feel, to almost feel that their division of cycling they're involved in is the elitist version, you know? Even BMX kids are like, you know, this is the best, and road cycling is a whole different scenario, you know? I mean, it's the kind of thing where I'll be out riding my bike that I ride on the road. It doesn't look like your traditional road bike, and you're just out just flying along, enjoying the day. And because you don't have the kit on, the dude passes you on the other side of the road with everything. And I have a bell on my bike and I ring it and wave, and you just don't even get a smile. I'm just like, damn, dude, like, really? I understand that there's a time and place, like, you know, maybe they're training, maybe they have their own shit going on, maybe this and that, but just for how much it happens, just, I wish people wouldn't be so, I don't know, put like a wall around what they do because how it affects other people.
The one thing I could change about cycling would be the bad reputation that urban cyclists seem to have. There's a stigma around urban cyclists being like inconsiderate punks, and I disagree. I think people have calmed down. I think there are way more cyclists, especially urban cyclists, that are very considerate of laws, traffic laws, pedestrians, fellow, you know, vehicles.
If I could change one thing, not even in like a local or like Austin scale, but like, you know, I didn't really run into this so much in New York, but like a worldwide scale would be like the get a BMX line that everyone has, like, you know, and the kind of hate for the fixed gear stuff. And I mean, granted, like, there are a lot of reasons for people to hate fixed freestyle and even track bikes and fixed gears in general. I mean, and I totally see what they're saying, but I just think like meaningless hate about that kind of stuff is kind of lame. It's just it gets old, you know?
Cycling has impacted my life in many positive ways. It helped me discover a passion. I realized that I just want to advocate cycling. I have become an organizer of the sport that I play, bike polo, and it helped me realize that I'm like a strong individual. I can ride for a month and carry all of my gear, and it's just made me realize that I am part of a community and I have networks all over the world who share really similar interests as me, and like that makes us friends.
It's so vast, like it's really hard for me to summarize you know, like how it's changed my life, because it changes my life every day, but I feel like it's created a life for me more than anything. And at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I'm still here, you know, like I've made it through a lot of things that I didn't know anything about, and for me that's something that continues to inspire me for what's ahead, you know, whether it be, you know, through BMX riding or nothing to do with riding or whatever. It's kind of like planted a seed that has affected me a certain way that I'll carry with me always.
Cycling has impacted my life, you know, pretty much on every level. You know, I didn't really expect to be doing it this long, but you know, why I wake up in the morning, you know, why I put on different kind of clothes and stuff like that, it's all kind of based around riding.
Being a cyclist has taught me to be patient. I have like kind of a temper, but I definitely, like, there's been a few examples in the past where I've like restrained myself, and I think that has a lot to do with me just like learning that like nothing ever comes easily, and that if you want to see results, you have to put in a lot of work, and that whether or not it's behind the handlebars or like even mentally. And it just, you know, it just taught me moderation in life. So it just, teaches you balance, you know, especially like a track bike too, teaches you, it's that kind of like momentum balance that you have going on.
Being on the bike and being associated with all that is that has really taught me you get out of life what you put into it. Most events in my life have been shaped by cycling, be it from every job growing up. My first real job was in a bike shop. It taught me a lot about the ideals and the amount of work you really have to put into something you love if you want to benefit from it and have others benefit from it also. Many of the folks I meet, probably everyone I know is somewhat associated with cycling in some way, somehow. I don't really know any other way other than cycling.
What we do has an impact on the things around us, on each other, and especially as I started biking more than anything else, if I would get, you know, around other people who spent their days, you know, in a car or in an office, I could tell that there just wasn't that connection. Whereas, you know, being on the road and having to like watch out for myself and watch out for the other people and trying to be a good representative of other cyclists, you know, I found myself thinking, you know, continuously, like, what does what I'm doing look like to everybody else? You know, how does that make them feel about other cyclists? You know, can I do it a little bit better? And I'd rather that people at least kind of understand why I would choose to ride a bike every day and why I would, you know, think that that was a good option. You know, sometimes it feels like it's my only option, but I think even if I had the choice to drive more often or live differently, I'd still wind up going back to the bikes.
I think cycling is going to be more widely adopted in the U.S. fairly soon, I would think, with all the fuel issues we're bound to run into, and I think people are going to start realizing that they need to get out there and be healthy, and it's a great way to do it. It's fun, it's low impact. What beats exercise that you can smile while doing? Yeah.
I think cycling, in the kind of like the broad sense, we're going to see a big shift in the kind of like the popularity, or like, you know, the guys that got into fixed gears for fashion or for like a trend, they're going to start, they already have, they're going to start moving towards more like functional bicycles and commuters that are like still kind of sporty, but more like practical. And I think that's where cycling is going to go, is it's going to become a, you know, at least in like these kind of like small underground scenes, it's going to become more practical. You can still get all the flash and like all the speed and whatever you want on your bikes, but like you're going to want something that's going to be able to do a little bit more.
I can maintain my bikes on my own. I can carry my groceries home on my body. I don't need the cabin of a car to protect me from the elements outside. I can just ride my bike.
It'd be easiest to call myself a BMX bike rider first. I know that just pedaling is all that matters.
I am a graduate of Losing School for sure.
I run a bike company called Terrible One, which is going on, this will be its 13th year.
My name is John Watson. I run Bitches and Hoes.
We were just backing up and this bush jumped out of nowhere and freaking grabbed the mirror. Ray was like, no! But it got it. Oh!
We were both going for a ball, and she took a really good like backhand swing at it, and I just got her like the end of her mallet square in my mouth.